Stanford Neuroscience with Automated Testing Kit. Oh, let me redo that. So welcome to Kickstarting End-to-End Testing at Stanford Neuroscience with Automated Testing Kit. I am your presenter for today. My name is Andre Angelantoni, and I'm the founder of Performant Labs, and I'm also the lead automated testing kit developer. And we also have Peter Rubin, who's with Arena working on the neuroscience website. He's a test developer and maintainer, and some of his tests you're going to be seeing at some point today. And so a little bit about my background. I've been doing work with Drupal since 2007. So what was that? Something like Drupal 4.67 or something like that. And those are some of my clients down below. And what happened a few years ago is I got bit by the testing bug. And part of that, well, I'm gonna just go to the next slide so that we can dive right in. I'll share why I said that. All right. So what are we going to cover today? We are going to cover, hang on, there's a tag in front of my way here. There's an OK I have to click, otherwise I can't see, and my mouse is gone. Okay, I'm going to have to live with that. So where is ATK in the testing landscape? A brief history of Playwright, why automated testing kits. We're going to do some demos. I'm going to share some resources, and then we're going to have some Q&A at the end. All right, so why did I get bit by the testing bug? Because it's gotten much easier to perform end-to-end tests, and it's been spearheaded by a newer generation of tools. People are really excited about testing again, and you're going to see that in the graph I'm about to show you. And so the two most recent additions are Cypress, released in 2017, that are getting people excited because the testing is a huge world. There are a lot of tools out there. And then Playwright, which was released a little bit after that. There are dozens of choices for automated testing, but for most people, these two tools offer the best balance of flexibility, power, and ease of use. You know, maybe, Sean, it doesn't make sense for me to be the host because it keeps stealing my focus every time it pops up a note.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, or a tag or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so let's start off with where is automated testing kit in the testing landscape? So I'm just going to let you grok that for a second so you understand what are all the different kinds of testing out there. And so what we're actually looking at is over here. And so the tests that are included with automated testing kit focus mostly on integration testing and system testing, specifically the end-to-end testing. In other words, is there a user journey that you want to make sure is always working in your site? When the reality is that there are often multiple user journeys. And the user journey isn't just the visitor to the website, it's also the administrators. Is the editor still working? That sort of thing. And so when you have automated testing set up and you have all your scripts set up, then what you can be confident in is that the critical pieces of your site are continuing to work. And here's the typical test pyramid that you're going to see all over in the literature. End-to-end at the very top, you've got API just below it, integration, component, and then fundamentally unit testing. And what does it really look like in the real world? Looks mostly like this. And that's actually okay. By the way, this is a slide that came from Sean Darmond and Mark Miller. I think they really nailed it. And it's actually okay because at the very beginning, you are maybe going to have some unit tests, maybe you won't. But even if you want to start with end-to-end automated testing, you're going to say to yourself, well, I have user journeys, but I want to make sure my connection to X is still working, or to HubSpot. I have some integration testing that I want to do. Maybe I'm going to get into a little bit of component testing as well if I have some sort of JavaScript or React. All that kind of stuff can be handled with modern end-to-end tools. And then over time, you may discover, you may not, you may discover that you add different tools for different layers. And then you'll see the end-to-end is relegated mostly to user journeys. But it's totally fine if you want to start with testing all those other things. And I'm presenting this because when you get bitten by the testing bug, you quickly learn that what we want is to shift left one's testing. In other words, move testing earlier in the process of making software. And that means right up into, well, put it in the requirements. We want tests. I'm a senior developer. I've been doing this for a long time, and I didn't grow up with the ethos that I would push code, and then I would push at the same time as my push the code, I would push tests that proved not just to myself, but to everyone else that my code worked. So to me, I think that the best teams out there start to teach their people that you want to submit your code with your pull request, and you want to submit the test at the same time to prove that it works. That's going to be what I think we're going to view what a senior developer does that distinguishes their skill level from non-senior, let's say. So let's talk a little bit about a brief history of Playwright. It's going to be super brief. It was developed and released by Microsoft. And by the way, I have other videos that talk about Cypress, because Cypress was what really introduced me to this whole new world. But Stanford chose Playwright, so we're actually just going to focus mostly on Playwright. So this is not a slight to Cypress, okay? And it was forked from Puppeteer, but unlike Puppeteer, it's designed to work with multiple browsers. And it's very fast when compared to Cypress. So Cypress does have some advantages, and Playwright is one of the advantages that Playwright has is speed. And it also has very tight integration with Visual Studio Code, and that makes the test debug loop a joy to work with. So here is what I mean about the two tools. They came on strong, like even Cypress, which is the orange one, you can see it's kind of plateaued a little bit, but that's still 5 million downloads. So when I said that it's a popular tool, it is a popular tool. And what's happening is that Playwright is taking over to some degree. Okay, so this is important because Playwright does run much faster on single threads, and it includes parallelization out of the box. So you're going to see that running tests locally, you can see the Cypress 1 minute, 27 seconds for some tests, and then it was only 25 seconds when this team converted it to Playwright. Same thing on the second line. There was also a similar improvement, and you can see the link of that test case down below. These slides, I will post them on the Stanford website so that you have access to them. You don't have to try to take screenshots if you want to remember some of these URLs. Now, what you can do is you can obtain parallelization with Cypress by signing up for their cloud service, which is really, really slick. Okay, so why Automated Testing Kit? Why not just use these raw tools? Well, what Automated Testing Kit does is it gives you a head start. First of all, you get 24 tests in these categories. These are going to look like the kind of the key tests that almost every site should be running. And that was purposefully, we picked these tests because if I had my way, every Drupal site in the world would have at least these tests figured out. And by the way, there's quite a few of them inside of a particular category. So entity creation, update, and deletion, it handles nodes, media, taxonomy, and user entities. What else does it include? It includes helper functions. Now, in both cases, these are either tests or helper functions that you did not have to write and debug, and they're thoroughly documented. So if you want to delete a node and you have the node ID, you can just call the function and it gets handled for you. If you didn't have Automated Testing Kit, you would have to either make your own helper function or you would write a script that did it for you specifically. Okay, so here are some other key features. So of Automated Testing Kit. Feature number one, it is possible to communicate with the target site. And that means that we can actually send drush commands to the target site from the test scripts. Now, whether you're using Playwright or Cypress, this is built in. So everything I'm saying works for both frameworks, okay? And so if I need to run, hey, I want you to rebuild the XML sitemap, drush command, I can actually do that. And that will get piped to the target site. And if the target site is on Pantheon, we set up an SSH channel and we use Terminus, and that will get to Pantheon. So that's really key, because when your test scripts can talk to your target scripts, or your target site rather, you can do a lot of cool things. Not just running the XML sitemap, but we'll keep going. Here's another one. We have a custom drush command called fprop, and what it'll do is it will give you the key details of a file, properties like the date, the size, that sort of thing, the ownership, on the target server. So I can ask the target server, hey, what's the timestamp of a particular file? Then I can go do some test on it, and then I can ask again, now what's the timestamp? And if there's a difference, then I know that my test worked because I'm checking to make sure that it got updated. So that's another example of when you can speak to the server, you can do cool things. We also have pre-flight checks. This is pretty brand new. So Renee and Luke just got it on their site, and it's sitting inside of a branch for Stanford Neuroscience. Irina's not on the call right now, but what we instituted is the ability to, again, communicating with Drupal, we ask the remote site for it to perform certain tests, and if they fail, then we don't continue with the test. In other words, there are pre-flight checks, very similar to the checklist that you might have that a pilot might do before they take off. Now, why is this important? Well, you need to make sure sometimes, every time you start a whole suite of tests, the remote database has to be set up in some way. There's always some setup that has to be done. And it might be that some modules need to be turned on. In this case, you can see that we want to make sure automated testing kit is turned on. We need some QA accounts turned on, and we need the reroute email turned on. We want to make sure, for instance, with the reroute email, that we're not sending out 1,000 emails by mistake because we're running a test that happens to be testing emails. So by making sure that the reroute email module is turned on and properly configured, which is the second part of that file, then we make sure that we're not making those sorts of mistakes. Pre-flight checks, another valuable thing built into automated testing kit. We also include hooks to improve selectors. So the automated testing kit module has some hooks, and every time a page is rendered, they fire. And now in the HTML that you're using, you can see these new classes or the media ID, and now you can target items very easily with those classes or media IDs. And because sometimes it's actually really tough to target something. So the ability to have Drupal run hooks to provide these already makes it so much easier to target certain elements on the page. Clean up after tests. We clean up after ourselves after all the tests. And we just added multi-level logging. We've incorporated Winston. So you've got 7 different layers of levels of logging from nothing all the way to silly. And so we have already added certain logging statements at the debug level and at the silly level that you can add as many as you want. Okay, so how do you run all the tests? Simple one at the top, just npx playwright test. It runs under Node. We're using JavaScript for the tests, but Playwright actually handles maybe 3 or 4 different languages. You can write your tests in any of those languages. The second one, npx playwright grep, says, okay, well, I actually want you to run just that test. And all of our tests in the library have tags. One of the tags is an ID that helps you look on our documentation site and cross-reference so that you can learn what the test does. Or, of course, you can just open the project and look at the code yourself. really, really common is that you're going to almost always do something like this. You're going to say, I want to run all the tests and I want to run only the smoke tests. They should have that tag. But I want to make sure that I don't run, which is the grep invert, any tests that are marked with skip. So that's almost always you're going to run that sort of command where you're skipping things. And Peter's going to show that in just a second. Okay. All right. Peter's turn. I'm going to stop sharing. And he's going to show. There we go. Okay, Peter, you're up.
I will give a demo on running some ATK tests and walk through some phases and steps for running tests throughout your site. So share my screen. All right, so hopefully it shows, and let's start. So here at first, we'd have to target the local instance. So we would need to change the base URL, as well as in the other configuration, changing the branch that we'll be targeting, which in this case would be ATK 2025. Then once we have the backend set up, we would make sure to launch the containers. And in this case, we were using DDEV for our local site setup. And once the containers run, we'd be able to access and also see the backend site on our local machine.
Also notice that we're running a Solr container locally so that you can actually run your Solr tests on your
So
local.
that's very impressive.
Yeah.
So then once it completes, it generates a local URL for the dev instance that you'd be able to open up from your CLI. And from there, you can now access the backend site similar to seeing it from Pantheon, except it's opened locally with the code base. And from there, I'm able to navigate it and look around before I run tests on them. So after we would get access to the backend site, we'd need to start to prep the database. And here we're making sure that we enable certain things like the automated testing kit, as well as enabling the QA accounts. And we do this so that our tests have a reliable login that we can access with. So over here is where we run our actual command for one of our tests, which we chose here to run a contact us test. And what we're doing here is we're specifying the browser by saying the project, which in this case where we'll be running the test through Chromium. And by including the headed switch, we can see the tests that are going to run in real time. So let's try running one of these tests. So now here, this is a very cool part where the script carries out the tasks and it shows the automated steps. So as we can see, it first logs in, then it will access the contact us page. and it will fill in different fields to make sure that it worked. Then after there, it would generate a report where we can access and see what kind of test results that we were able to get. So here we can check the results and see that for this case, most of the steps passed. And these were most of the steps that we had walked through when running through the script on the local site. And then over here, if we navigate to traces, here is where we would see our Playwright viewer. And if we scroll through here, we're able to see each scene that we are able to go through throughout this test. And this is very good for both debugging and also see where a test might have gone wrong if a step or two would break. And it's also fun to look at. So after we do that, the next thing we would do is we would change to the pre-launch instance. And we would do this so then we can run the same set of tests now on the newer environment. And we'd want to see if any results might have changed the second time around. So we changed the base URL now to the pre-launch environment. And after we do that, we'd have to start the containers. So here we would be starting the database and the container. So then it would generate the URL now for the dev site. And then we'd need to prep the database again now for the pre-launch instance. And we do this so then our database has values that we can work with to make sure that the tests work in accordance to them.
So I'll just jump in. Notice the terminus remote drush command. So we're communicating using terminus, and that's exactly how automated testing kit as well talks to Pantheon. It uses terminus.
Yes,
Now, if it's
uh,
Aqua or anything like that, then we use an SSH channel.
yes, terminus is how we exactly talk to Pantheon, especially remotely from our CLI. And we're actually able to target a specific environment, which is pre-launch through terminus.
Now, so typically you only need to prepare a database once, and you can see that ATK was already enabled. He's just showing you the sorts of things you would do the first time you're preparing a database.
So then we would enable the QA accounts again, and our test here would have a way to log in with credentials and access from the database. And then over here is where I would run the smoke tests. And this compared to our initial first test would be to touch the main parts in the site. And it would run both the main components using the smoke tag, but we'd also skip over some unessential tests. So let's run some tests on some of the main parts of the site.
So for folks who are maybe new to smoke testing, smoke tests are typically it's a subset of all your tests, and you go wide instead of deep, and you want an answer within 15 minutes to tell you if all the major pieces are working. A full suite of tests could actually last hours to run and take multiple shards simultaneously, really working hard to run them all. It's very common to have thousands of tests. But your smoke tests, you want to know real quick, is everything working? And that's primarily the tests that we have inside of APK right now, because all the other ones are going to be custom for your site. You're going to have custom user flows that you are going to want to test. And those may not be smoke tests.
And it goes through different things like creating an article through the UI, as well as filling out a form and checking if a 403 page appears.
Now, you may have noticed that there was a retry message there. Both Cypress and Playwright have the ability to retry a test in case it's flaky. So it's not going to necessarily fail the first time it fails, because anytime you're doing anything over the public internet, sometimes things are flaky. So you have to have it set up in such a way that there are retries. If it retries after 3 or 4, and it's all of them have failed, then it's going to get marked as a failure. And both tools are similar in that regard.
So here it now generated the file for the smoke tests, and we are able to see the results from running the tests again, though in the pre-launch instance of the site. And as you can see, some steps are going to break. There's never an ideal test run, but you make fixes then after you proceed with the release. And some of these tests passed again, showing that the components were working pretty good. And yeah, that was my demo. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Peter. So yeah, I'll just emphasize this. Often when you run your suite of tests, you're going to get failures, and the key is not to have 0 failures. I mean, that's ideal if you can do it, but you do want to know why each one failed. And it's pretty common that you're going to say, yeah, it's actually not something I'm going to fix right now because I got to get something out the door by 5 p.m. today. So you'll accept that the test has failed. But the goal, of course, is if something failed, you go look at it right away. You find out was there a problem with the test, or is there actually a functional issue that needs to be looked at? If there's a functional issue, then you create the ticket that goes off to the devs. They fix it, and the whole cycle begins again. Now there is a question by Mark. Do you have to use do you have to install the Selenium WebDriver? You do not. When you use Playwright, it will or Cypress, both of them, it will install everything it needs when you use its installation process. But it is communicating. Playwright communicates by sending messages using the exact name escapes me right now, but it's the way that browsers can be communicated with. So that you can direct them on how to do things, which is distinct from how Cypress does it. Cypress, its tests run in the browser, whereas Playwright, the tests run outside in Node or whatever your interpreter is, and it sends commands to the browser. So it's quite a different mechanism. All right, let's keep on going. How are we doing for time? Great. So I think we were here. This should have had that. I don't know if you all noticed that earlier. So we're going to keep on going. And it looks like we are going to have time for questions because we're coming close to the end of the slides, which is great. So resources, there's a lot here, okay? And you may want to do a little bit more research before you proceed with your testing program. And so here are some key videos. They're located at that URL. There is a recipe tutorial, and it will install Automated Testing Kit on your local machine using a vanilla Drupal installation. Excuse me. It is just for demonstration purposes. Do not use that recipe on your site. Recipes don't work well when you try to use them on sites that they weren't designed for, okay? So that's just for demos. Second is a full introduction, and it gives you a lot more detail of what Automated Testing Kit will do. Then there is setting up a comprehensive automated testing regime for Drupal using Cypress and Playwright. That was from 2 years ago at actually WebCamp. You're at WebCamp. Then there's a video, should I choose Cypress or Playwright? That was given at FADCamp. It looks at the pros and cons. As always, the answer in technology is when someone asks you which tool should I use, the answer is, it depends. So this goes through what you want to think of before you choose your tool. Then if you go to Automated Testing Kit documentation, from the left menu, there is a learning resources option. The link is at the very bottom. And there are a bunch more learning resources. I scoured the internet so that you don't have to. And you can see some Drupal specific videos. Mark's and Sean's presentations are in there somewhere. General Cypress, General Playwright, and then comparison to Selenium. All right, there's one more thing that we didn't show you, and you can do both visual regression testing with both Cypress and Playwright, but it's actually not nearly as slick as what I'm about to show you. So what is, first of all, visual regression testing? You take screenshots of web pages and then you compare them. Why would you want to do that? You have to compare two environments, production versus stage, for instance. You want to validate a deployment, or you want to do some monitoring or development workflow. So the tool for that we found is the best is actually Diffie. And it's a private company. It's not an open source, so you do have to pay for it. And it's full page capture, cloud-based, and so on. And there's a 10% discount if you want to use that. But if you're looking at visual regression, it is it's always, the trade-off, right? Do you put in the hours that it takes to set up visual regression, or do you just use a tool that's really super slick? So you have to make up your own mind which is more dear to you, time or the money. Okay, so get in touch if you want to talk to me, or get on to the Slack channel, the Drupal Slack channel. There's an Automated Testing Kit Slack channel there that you can, and all that link is also at the Drupal project page at Automated Testing Kit. So you don't have to remember that. All right, time for Q&A. So does anyone have any questions about Automated Testing Kit that we can help answer? All right, Jordan, you're up.
All right. So I just fired up my local environment, and I was just trying. I tried to apply the recipe, and that didn't work. But is there a way to just like install the module and say, okay, great, run the tests for me now, just the built-in tests?
Yes. So what you want to do is you'll want to go, and you do need to install it manually, because like I said, the recipe is not designed. Maybe at some point in the future we'll figure out how to do that, but that's actually a lot of work to make sure recipes work on all the various different websites, and I don't quite even know if we could do it. But if you follow these instructions, specifically starting at installation, it's going to tell you that what you want to do is you're going to want to choose which tests you want to run, because that's going to determine which of these modules you're going to install. If you don't want to run the XML sitemap test, you don't need to run that module. If you don't use contact us through web forms, don't need that one, and so on. we always start by using QA count, so you're going to want that, and you're always going to want drush. So here's what you're generally going to do inside of your composer file. You're going to add something in there. Obviously, you're going to always add this. Okay. Let's say you're going to always add these two. You go update them, and I'm going to just, you enable them, and then you're going to need to run the setup script, because the setup script takes the files that are sitting inside of, where's Visual Studio Code? Takes the files that are sitting inside of the contributed. Let's do this. So here's the module. Here's automated testing kit here, and it ships with the Cypress tests here and the Playwright tests here. But something has to move them into the root of your project. So here are the Playwright tests right there. And so this actually gives me a good chance to show you what it's like to debug inside of Playwright. So here's the contact us script, and I've got a breakpoint set there. So I'm going to go to this new pane that shows up here on the left for testing. It's a new Explorer, which you need the extension for Playwright testing. Once you have that installed, then you can do what I'm about to show you. And so now I can go ahead and click on the little debug icon. It's going to fire up Chromium because that's what I've got it set to use. So there's Chromium. Let's move this off to the right, move this off to the left, and we're gonna, and now I can step through and I can see the value of my variables, and it's the full debugging experience. So one thing I will say is it's really actually quite a bit easier to debug in Playwright than Cypress. So when you're making your choice, definitely take a look at that, like pay attention to that, because it's going to take you more time to write and debug tests in Cypress just because of the way it internally works. It broke some new ground, Cypress. It's an excellent tool, and I think that they have some areas now that they need to catch up. So does that answer your question, Jordan?
Yeah, it really does. That's fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to just keep on hitting play, and you can watch it go. And ta-da! It's now completed. So if I go back to my Explorer, you see I got a green. It's successful. I could do that with all of them, and then I get whatever, greens, failures, passes. Any other questions? Okay. One thing I'll show people is what you can do if you're using a 2-repo setup. So what we wanted to do on this was just concentrate on how do you get the tool working on your local machine. And the local machine is running the tests, and the target can be the local machine, or the target can be your host. And the way you change that is what Peter was showing everyone is you go to the Playwright config. Oh, there's somebody else. Amy, I saw your hand up. I'll get to you in just a sec. You go to here, and what he was showing you is that you change the base URL, and that's your target. And if it's on Pantheon, you have to go here and you say, I want you to target Pantheon, and what's the name of the website, and what's the environment, and then it will communicate to Pantheon. So two files have to be changed. This is the automated testing kit configuration, and then there's the Playwright testing kit configuration file. Well, you can set all that up so that you can create actions inside of whatever your favorite DevOps tool is. This happens to be GitHub. So there's GitHub Actions. And I have 4 specific actions that are already created. This one here is showing all the workflows, but I want to say, okay, well, I want to run Playwright tests against Pantheon. And it's possible now to, you go click on run workflow, and you can actually create your own form here and pass the parameters to the workflow. So in this case, what's the branch I want to do? What's the target environment? So we set all this up for both, well, we haven't actually done it for Stanford yet, but we set this up for Renee and Luke over at UCOP. And then you can say how many shards and what's the shard count. And then finally you can click on the workflow and it will use the 2000 minutes that you get with every account, or some of these, when universities have an account with GitHub, often they get tens of thousands of minutes, and so there's just not even a problem with running out of minutes. So here's something I ran a little earlier. We'll go inside. It shows that it was running 3 different shards at the same time, so these were actually running in parallel, and then at the very end, there is a mechanism that Playwright provides that takes the results from the 3 different shards and puts it together in a single Playwright report. So we're going to go open that up, open that up, open this up. There we go. And so this is the standard Playwright report. You can see that there are 19 passed tests, 0 failed, 1 was flaky, 3 got skipped. If I want to look at all of the smoke tests, I can click on a specific tag like that. Or I want to see all the tests that are going to make changes to the database. And of course, if there's a tag, I can either select for that tag or I can select against that tag. So I can say, I want you actually not to run any of the tests that alter the database. So it used to be that we would run all the tests inside of their own little folder, and we had to track file names and all that kind of stuff. Everything now is moving towards tags so that you can identify precisely what you want. And the tags themselves, let's go take a look at one of these tests. Let's go inside here.
Andre,
the tags are located over here. Yes, go ahead.
Just a quick note. You've got a couple of questions and we're coming close up on the time. So just want to give you a sense of, we've only got about a few minutes left for this session.
Yeah, no worries. And I was actually just wrapping that up. And
Perfect.
What I wanted to do is I thought I saw Amy's hand was up. Amy, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I can be pretty quick. My question was about the previous thing we had just talked about. I specifically was wondering if you had any recommendations for a site that's already using the testing kit, and how, like, when updates for the testing kit come out, how that import script is specifically like overwriting any of the ATK files. Are there any recommendations with like specifically not updating those files directly, or trying to make sure you're preserving them with like updating the kit?
Yeah, the philosophy behind the script is that it's really designed to work only once.
Okay.
Because the nature of these tests is such that you're going to modify the scripts. Almost certainly every script is going to get touched by you in some way to be unique to your site. So if you reran the script, you would lose all your work.
Thank you for clarifying that. I wasn't really sure on the intention of if you'd want to keep rerunning that update script to kind of follow along with updates, but thank you.
You're welcome. Which site are you guys working on, Amy?
It's a site for CMS.
Okay.
It's like an external site, but it's primarily used like internally. And it's a Drupal site. So yeah.
Okay, great. Well, if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to go into the Slack channel.
Thank you.
And then there was somebody else I think you were mentioning, Sean, has another question.
Yes, Mark.
Yeah, that's me. This is really cool. I think one of the more maddening aspects, though, of testing is the flaky test. And I thought it was kind of cool that it shows which tests are flaky. What kind of like experience have you had with that? Is it kind of helpful? Is it useful, or is it just, I mean, and also like, how do you treat those kinds of tests? Is it like just a warning, or is it considered a failure of the test?
Great question. So what we have been doing over the last, I would say, 3 weeks, and we've been doing this with both UCOP being UC California, or like University of California, and Stanford, is we have been trying to get our heads around how much flakier it is when we target Pantheon. Because when we target the sites on our local machines, they run perfectly, 100% pass. But that's not the case as soon as we have the public internet in between. So in both cases, I've sat down and created a burn-in table where I've run all the tests 10 times. And I would consider a test as being successful, like it doesn't need any more work to tweak it. We don't have to add a little delay here. We don't have to tweak how we're finding the selector there, that sort of thing. If it scores something like 8, 9, and 10, obviously 10 would be ideal. If after our burn-in test we see that something is scoring 7 or lower, that's when we go to work and we actually roll up our sleeves to see what is the vulnerability that's causing the flakiness, and we see if there's something we can do to improve that. We have found with Pantheon that a universal, terrible I have to say this, but a universal way to increase the reliability of all the tests is simply to add a 500 millisecond delay for every step. But now, all of a sudden, your tests that we're going to run super, super fast are now running super, super slowly, which sucks. So definitely, the bottom line is if you don't have time, you can fall back on that catch-all kind of technique, and then you're definitely going to want to have multiple threads running simultaneously so that your tests are running in a reasonable time frame. Does that help?
Yeah, test lengths can be painful. Yeah, we've had tests that can run up to half an hour before they fail, or even longer. So yeah, the multiple thread thing is good.
Yeah, and that's actually one place where Cypress excels over Playwright. What they do is, because the orchestration of their tests is run through their dashboard, they're tracking how long all the tests run. And so if a test runs for 30 minutes and you've authorized it to use 5 different threads, let's say, it's going to balance out eventually. Excuse me, it learns how to do that. It's going to balance out which threads get which tests so that they roughly end all at the same time. That's not something that Playwright knows how to do. It has a much more crude way of doing it in Playwright. Cypress is quite slick in that regard. Any other questions? Pull up the Zoom, the chat. There it is. One new message. Backstop.js is another one we use for visual regression, and it's free. Once you understand configuration, it's pretty easy. Yeah, I've heard good things about it, and I've never actually played with it, Mark. Although I am involved in that thread online about moving away from backdrop. And I made the case, this is on Drupal.org, and I made the case, sorry, you said backstop, I said backdrop, easy to confuse those, I meant backstop. So there is talk of Drupal CMS, which is currently using Cypress and I think backstop, to move to Playwright. So I don't have that link handy that I can share with people, but if anyone wants to know that, ping me on Slack and I'll find it, and I'll share it with you. There's a big discussion about moving almost everything to Playwright. Any other questions?
There was a question that came in about if the recording will be available, and the answer is yes, the recording will be available on the webcam site once it's been processed. Other questions for Andre or Peter? All right.
Now there's one more tool that, since we have a little bit of time, I'm going to tell you all about, because you can use it even if you don't use Automated Testing Kit, and that's called Test Store. And this is the tool that handles snapshot management. And if you've run testing programs, you'll know that handling snapshots is a bit of a pain. So Testor is, again, an open source. And what it does is it will create a snapshot of your production database or your files, and it will upload them to a storage server. And the storage server can be S3 compatible, or it can be an SFTP server. It can run a sanitization process, because a lot of organizations, you can't just give a copy of production to your developers. It's actually very verboten to do that without it being sanitized first. So you can run a sanitization process. And then you can use Testor to fetch the latest database or file snapshot and import it either to your local machine, or you can import it anywhere you want on the internet. And that's actually really convenient too, because if you just say, hey, give me the latest snapshot, what typically happens is, let's say let's say Monday morning, the technical team lead makes the snapshot of production, sanitizes it, and then posts it someplace. This is the tool that helps that process. And then when the developers and the testers come in, they're going to pull down the snapshot that's appropriate for them. Now, why are there two different snapshots? It's really, really common that the testers need their own snapshot, because they need to set things up just so for them to use it. And so this can handle both. It has unlimited number of categories for snapshots. Definitely you want to check out Testor. And then I guess maybe the other thing I would mention is, we didn't show this, but really often, like on performantlabs.com and other sites, we're also using Tugboat, which is, I think, the best thing that's happened in development in years. And so what you can do is you can create a preview of your site for a specific branch, and then run all the tests on that branch. And so that might work like when you create a PR. When you create a PR here, as soon as the PR is created, then the action that is triggered by the creation of the PR, which is right over here, run Playwright test against Tugboat. When that gets triggered, it will message Tugboat, go create for me a preview that's just that branch. Tugboat grabs a snapshot using Testor, and then the tests run against the preview branch. And you can have as many preview branches as you purchase space on Tugboat. And then the results will get reported back to your PR on whether it was successful or not.
Andre, you had a question from Jordan?
Okay, Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, I should have mentioned this sooner. I'm trying to get this to work locally, and it's not working. I think it's because I'm using Drupal 11. What's the status of ATK with D11?
So we're just about to release the 2.0 version of automated testing kits, which will include a new recipe and all of the tests that have been customized for Drupal 11. And all the documentation will be updated. So that is going to happen. We're pretty darn close. I think we're going to release actually next week. Right here. So you will see this. You can start with the alpha if you want, but we're going to have a full release next week.
Awesome, thanks.
You're welcome. Now, if anyone wants to, if I may, I encourage you to submit your tests that work with automated testing kit back to the project, and we will, like Peter submitted the feeds test back here. Actually, I have to close that because that's been merged into 2.0. But if you have a test that you think other people would like, please definitely create an issue, submit the test. It's not common that you're going to know both frameworks, so submit it in whatever framework you have, or that you've written it in, and then we'll convert it to the other framework. Because the goal is always Cypress and Playwright will be completely equivalent. You can switch at any time. Well, if there are no other questions, Sean, we're coming close to the end, and we could give people time to get to their next bio break and their next talk, if there is a next talk at noon.
I think it's lunch is up as the game plan next for those that are on the West Coast anyway. So Andre, thank you very much. Peter, thank you very much. Again, this recording will be posted to the webcam site after it's been processed. Appreciate everyone's participation today. Thank you for the questions.
Okay, thanks
Thank you,
everyone.
Andre.
Reach
Thank you,
out on
Peter.
Slack if